increase the amount of CCTV cameras in this country by 500. 180 CCTV cameras we put in Tobago to help with crime against tourists and the local people there. So we increased by 500.
In the image of the United National Congress, the Member of Parliament for Urupooch East, Dr. Rudal Moonilal.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, family of the United National Congress in Trinidad and Tobago and across the world, political leader the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, parliamentary colleagues, MP Indar Singh, other speakers tonight on our platform, brothers and sisters all. It's a privilege to be again in your home, in your workplace, in your virtual space, to bring to you some of the issues affecting our beloved nation. Today, brothers and sisters, we are witnessing the collapse of our democracy and our society. We are witnessing the emergence of an autocratic state under the PNM. Today, we are responding with strength, with courage, with tenacity, as we embark upon now the people's revolution, a revolution of the people, a peaceful revolution meant to highlight the problems that we face, whether it's crime, unemployment, poverty, neglect, discrimination. I invite you early to join the revolution. On December 12th at the Debe Fun Splash Water Park, it's car park on that day, and you will hear more about that in the coming days. Brothers and sisters, this country has deteriorated to a state that is unrecognizable. Our nationals abroad don't want to come back home at this time. I understand some of the Venezuelans who are illegal are now leaving because things are so bad here. That is the state that Rowley has us in. They are destroying every single day. They are destroying one institution at a time. Look around what is happening, brothers and sisters. Our colleague MP Indar Singh spoke about the Industrial Court, a critical institution since the 1960s being undermined now. The Office of the President compromised in the recent Police Service Commission matter. The Police Service Commission itself collapsed, imploding under the weight of corruption, under the weight of unconstitutional violations to its principles and the law. Brothers and sisters, today, you would not believe, but independent senators are now filing motions not against the government, but against the opposition. That is where we have reached. A group of people who are in parliament to hold the government to account, filing motion against the opposition. Today, brothers and sisters, the principal medical officer, whose job it is to tell people not to drink alcohol, reduce your consumption of alcohol, it is hazardous to your health. The principal medical officer is now selling rum because now she occupies another institution whose job is to market and to promote the sale of alcohol. That could only happen in a banana republic, brothers and sisters. And that is the state we are in today. I hope that she has permission pursuant to Civil Service Regulations, I believe 137.1, that she would have permission from the permanent secretary or a head of department for that task. I raised, brothers and sisters, in the parliament some time ago the matter involving persons then nominated, now confirmed, I believe, and appointed to the Police Service Commission, particularly two persons, Mr. Ian Ramdani and Ms. Maxine King, I believe is her name. When I raised those matters in parliament, I raised in the context of one person some type of previous conduct, campaign, involvement, interfacing with employees of that organization. And I indicated that this was not good. It was not healthy for the conduct of employment relations. There were concerns by an employee or employees over their tenure, over the security of their jobs. I looked at the Express yesterday, and brothers and sisters, I was appalled when I see a front page headline. It was, "Hold your complaint," with an article entitled, "Don't Interact with New Commissioners." It appears from reading this article, the acting director of personnel administration, his name is one Corey Harrison, told in a recording, which they were kind enough to send to me, told employees that they were wrong if they had contact with a member of parliament, myself, to raise matters that affect citizens. This is his position according to this report. I couldn't believe it. And further went on to tell employees, if you have a complaint, whether it's sexual harassment, rape or murder, whatever it might be, don't write me. Don't send me no letter. You believe an employer is behaving like this? This employer must be an understudy of Keith Rowley. The director of personnel administration telling an employee, if you have a complaint, don't write me, I don't want to know. Now the industrial court will wipe the ground with him if a matter ever go there. When I read this, I realized why Anand Ramlogan is winning so much cases. These are the people who lead us to the Privy Council with Ramlogan and who will lose. You cannot tell employees not to write you. You are the employer. You have a duty to meet and treat with the complaints of every single employee in good faith. So Mr. Harrison, you are rude and out of place if this report is accurate. And you ought not to be taking umbrage to a member of parliament raising any matter. That is our job. We took an oath of office to uphold the law without fear or favor. And I fear not, and I don't need favors. I couldn't believe the acting director of personnel administration seeking to chide, to buff up, to insult employees of the Police Service Commission and then telling them, have nothing to do with the new commissioners. You working for me. I am the boss. I am the emperor. I am the king. This is uncalled for, and in the coming days, if this is not clarified further, I intend to take up this matter at several of the more relevant institutions and authorities, brothers and sisters. This same person, I want you to recall this same person, brothers and sisters, in several matters that were before the court. In one matter involving Ravi Balgobin Maharaj and Gary Griffith Police Service Commission and so on, it was an affidavit from the acting director of personnel administration who said a list of nominees was submitted to Her Excellency on August 12, 2021. He did not say it was withdrawn. The president, in her own, I did no wrong, paid advertisement. The president said that a list came and it was withdrawn, but the man who was in charge of this said he sent the list. He didn't say anything about withdrawn. Then the acting deputy director now, I believe she's also in agreement in that recording that we heard, indicated that the Police Service Commission has withheld submission of the merit list to the president. This is in another affidavit, in another matter, Anand Ramesa and the Police Service Commission. So the acting deputy director said we have withheld this merit list. The director said we sent it, and the president said they sent it and take it back. That is where we are with the Police Service Commission. And the Director of Personnel Administration at this time has no moral authority to talk about trust of any employee under his charge, brothers and sisters. Another matter that is raging is this matter involving the Prime Minister and Gary Griffith. There was an excerpt in the Express, I believe, of yesterday, in which they gave almost verbatim an account of the letter sent by the Prime Minister to the Police Service Commission, indicating he lost faith in Gary Griffith. Well, I look at this letter, I read it 3 times. Brothers and sisters, the Commissioner of Police is appointed to do a job, to reduce crime, to protect citizens. That's his job. Rowley, of all people, complaining that another man is more erratic, disrespectful, and irrational than him. You could imagine that somebody is more erratic, disrespectful, and irrational than Keith Rowley, and Rowley is complaining about that. Now, these are matters of personality, idiosyncrasies, and behavior, and so on. These are not substantive matters in that sense. The performance of the Commissioner of Police is the issue. Whether crime going up or going down, whether bandits being apprehended, whether resources are going to the police officers. To raise issues as trivial as this, as the Prime Minister did, suggests he wanted to influence the merit list. He wanted to influence the appointment or disappointment of Gary Griffith. And this speaks volumes for a Prime Minister that is also out of control. This matter, brothers and sisters, and the Prime Minister has not responded to a question I raised several weeks ago. Prime Minister, did you or anyone else at the Diplomatic Center meet woman police corporal, Marshall? Did you meet her? And what did you meet her for? She's involved in several investigations in the police service involving, I believe, Mr. Hernandez, Mr. Chandler, and others. What did a WPC marshal go to the diplomatic center for? To meet who? To discuss what? And did you meet her? Tell us. I asked the question, you ignored it. Brothers and sisters, the Prime Minister is out of order to raise such issues. If you have a problem with Gary Griffith, come to Parliament and say you lose confidence and why. Don't go behind closed doors and write nasty letter about people's conduct and how they talk to you and the office of the Prime Minister being insulted and so on. When you call people all kind of name, whose office you undermining? Mine? You undermining the office of the Prime Minister. Brothers and sisters, I raise this matter with WPC Marshall again. In fact, the only WPC should go to the diplomatic center is Camille Robinson Regis. Brothers and sisters, what the Prime Minister will not tell you is that there's an investigation into firearms, the distribution of firearms and the lawful acquisition of firearms through the established process and so on. But I want the Prime Minister to tell me if he's aware of a minister who has not one but 3 high-powered guns, 3 high-powered weapons. And if he's aware that that minister refused to pay the relevant fees for 2 years, that is something you should be concerned about. Mr. Prime Minister, are you aware of a high government official? And this is information that the Firearm Bureau, Firearm Unit in the police service, they have several good officers there. They will know, they will have information because when you make a report, they are the ones who investigate. Is there a high government official who, I want to use, I can't use a bad word, but who was upset? Who was upset because he applied for a gun license, a special license. And believe it or not, it was a license for a gun to kill pigs. Yes, I said that. I said that. Imagine a high government official want a license for a gun to kill pig in Tobago. And when he didn't get it, or get it fast enough, I don't know, he gone crazy, gone ballistic. That means that everybody, not working and things corrupt and so on. What you want to kill pigs in Tobago? I mean, I heard of the famous James Bond movie, License to Kill. But this is license to kill pigs. So Keith Rowley, tell us, are you aware of that? Are you aware of a government official wanting to get a firearm dealer's permission, firearm dealer's license it's called, to sell gun in Tobago? Are you aware of that as well? Are those issues in your contemplation? Are you annoyed with that? So brothers and sisters, why did he not want Gary Griffith back as Commissioner of Police? Is it because Gary Griffith refused to break the law? Refused to break the law by locking up people on private property? Is it that Gary Griffith refused to lock up political opponents? And on that matter, I took note, Dr. Rowley in Tobago, Ramajane, talking about Watson Duke and nobody on a rape charge could be a PNM candidate and so on. I took note. He's trying to disarm politically Watson Duke. Dr. Rowley, did you try to disarm him physically? Did you try to disarm him physically? Did you try to get the firearms unit in the police service to take away his firearm? And when they told you that no charge you had in the court were related to firearms, so it was not possible, you gone ballistic again, no pun intended. You gone ballistic again. This is the workings of a Prime Minister who believes he's the Commissioner of Police. And brothers and sisters, you will hear much more about this in the future. You will hear no Prime Minister could tell the Firearms Bureau unit who to give gun to and who not to give gun to. Then we have an appointee, a lady named Maxine King from Tobago, I believe. Imagine this woman, according to her CV, which we have in our hands, is a wealth manager working with a company, First Line Security, I believe, involved with Dr. Rowley's friend, Alan Warner. He said is his friend in Parliament. He said that in response to a question. So his friend in Tobago, Alan Warner, is involved in a company, Inez Investment Limited. That company is involved with First Line Security, Miss Maxine King, I believe her name is, Miss King. She's a wealth manager, managing a $12 million fund from an unknown person for and on behalf of the friend of Keith Rowley, and she's placed on the Police Service Commission. So the wealth manager of his friend, managing an unknown account, is now, those are the facts according to paper. All we ask is if Alan Warner is your friend, he says yes. Do you know the connection between this lady who is now a commissioner, a police service commissioner, and your best friend or your good friend in Tobago? He doesn't want to answer that. But that is the point we were making when we said that we believe Ms. King was too close to the political directorate because she's working on behalf of his friend and he's the prime minister of the country. And we now know that he believes that he's police too. Those are serious issues, brothers and sisters. Today, because of this government and their pussyfooting over the appointment of a police commissioner and their corruption and undermining the Constitution and using the office of the president to do that, brothers and sisters, do you know today we have no commissioner? One of the consequences, I am now informed, is that the Police Complaint Authority has written, as they normally do, to the TTPS, the commissioner, and they have recommended the suspension of several police officers and their investigation concerning rogue behavior, misconduct in office, in some cases maybe more serious matters. The Police Complaint Authority has now written to the police service saying that several officers should be suspended forthwith given the findings of their investigation. You know, nobody is in the police now to suspend them. There's no commissioner of police. So officers who the Police Complaints Authority has recommended should not be at work, they're at work because there's nobody to suspend them. So they go along their merry way, courtesy Keith Rowley and the PNM. There's no commissioner. And that is the state of the police service today. I took note, the Deputy Commissioner of Police say, we have a problem with crime. The problem is the people, you all walking too slow. If you walk faster, it's better. The crime strategy is to walk fast. Brothers and sisters, this cannot be the approach to security as Christmas comes along. We need more detailed policies, strategy, resources, and we need a police commissioner in place, and we need a transparent system. We need a transparent system. And that reminds me too of the Deputy Director of Personnel Administration declaring in this newspaper article I read earlier, there's no requirement for being transparent on this matter. Imagine the head of the commission, Director of Personnel Administration, saying something like that. And today the police commissioner office is vacant. So there's no need for transparency there as well. Brothers and sisters, I call upon Rowley to bring the merit list, the original merit list, as submitted or to be submitted on August 11th or 12th. Bring that to Parliament and take a decision. And stop wasting time because you want to manipulate and massage that process contrary to law. Brothers and sisters, they have mismanaged this country's economy. Today, you would have read in the newspapers a new Boeing 737 MAX 8 aircraft arrived. When we asked how much is the cost to lease that, they said they have a secret deal. They can't tell us how much. Can't tell us how much to lease that. They can't tell us because the deal is we can't say. So they can spend taxpayers' money, but don't tell the taxpayer how much we're spending. We have a deal, a secret deal. And they have agreed to lease not one, but 12. According to market documents we have and so on, one of those aircraft that landed here, it takes $400,000 US a month to lease. That's 7/4/28, 2.8 million TT per month. 12/3/36, that's almost 30 million TT dollars a year. For one, they're going to lease 12. And we cannot find out how much you're leasing it for. Who is the middleman, the company in the middle doing the leasing? How much is Caribbean Airlines paying? We cannot find out. That is the next piece of nonsense taking place. Brothers and sisters, they have mismanaged the COVID, I don't have to tell you. Do you know in the last 7 days, we have had 3,600 new cases of COVID in 7 days. On the Saturday and Sunday before today, we have had a death every hour. 48 deaths in 48 hours. That's a death an hour. And why? Because they have mismanaged. They have been shooting in the dark on this COVID matter. And when we say that, people say, well, what would you have done? Had you been in government? Brothers and sisters, the UNC in Parliament, MP Rishi, MP Rai Ragbir, Dr. Budu and others, Dr. Gopi Singh outside, have been speaking on this matter. We told them already, had we been in office, we would have had a national mobilization strategy to bring all the groups, the churches, the mandirs, the mosques, the NGOs, civil society together. to join us in the vaccination program, so that this today, less people would have been in fear because their own community organizations would have been doing the vaccination. We would have had vaccine mentorship, where key national players, persons who are themselves mentors and high in the society, would have demonstrated to others the safety of taking vaccines. We would have provided incentives all over the world. They were providing incentives. We never did. We would have used culture to encourage people to take vaccines. We would have included the private sector early. You remember in February this year, I believe, they rejected about 400,000 Pfizer vaccines from a private sector business conglomerate. That could have saved 1,000 lives today. They rejected that, brothers and sisters. The other day, MP for Karen East raised the matter in Parliament. The government is not even pre-ordering the critical medication that is needed to treat COVID. Apart from vaccine and dead, there's a space in the middle. One side is vaccine to prevent. Well, next side is dead, you're finished. In the middle is medication. You have to medicate people, treat people when they become sick. They're doing it all over the world. In Europe, in India, in Africa, in North America. This country don't have a clue about importing the critical medications to treat COVID. MP from Karen East has been raising that matter, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters in the south here, Southwest Regional Health Authority, on the verge of collapse. Debe, in my constituency, require 90 more cots, emergency beds. It is overflowing. Had the UNC and the partnership not constructed, Point Fortin, Arima, Debe campus, Couva Hospital, Teaching Hospital in San Fernando, where would this country be today managing this pandemic? Where? Today, in the Southwest in particular, Debe has to be expanded in capacity for COVID patients. The Point Fortin Hospital need oxygen. In San Fernando, they're already overfull. Augustus Long need resources, human resources as well. And when we told them, buy more beds, ICU beds, buy more medication, pay for more nurses and so on in the system, they said, no, we have enough. They squandered $250 million at NGC. And the Prime Minister said that was manageable. $250 million squandered. Manageable, says Rowley in Parliament. How much ICU beds that could buy? How much cots that could buy? How much tent that could buy to treat at this time this critical problem of this country being overrun by the COVID? We are now in what is called mass casualty mode. Oxygen tanks needed, beds needed, space needed. And this government happy that they squandered $250 million at NGC, brothers and sisters. So that is their track record on COVID. I can go on and on, but there are other speakers, of course, who will speak on other matters related to the mismanagement and lack of governance. So I will end by again reminding you that the time is coming, December 12th, at the Debe Water Park car park. We will be having a mass drive-in rally with your cars and so on. Remember that date, mark it down, put it on a sticker on the fridge so that you know, because this country is a country worthy of being saved. This country has enormous potential in human resources, in capital resources. The potential is enormous. We have to get rid of the PNM once and for all, brothers and sisters. Today, crime is out of control. COVID is out of control. And indeed, Rowley is out of control. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.